Welcome to a new season of Wide Open Spaces with Elise, Cracked Open, where we're going to get raw, edgy, and a little on the wild side. Go to eliselitwin.com or wideopenspaceswithelise.com. Go to all my social media, like, love, and follow. Now let's get cracked open together. Welcome to episode 194, and I'm here with Gail. Gail's a social worker, and I'm going to have her tell you a little bit about what she does, and then we're going to move on to the meat of what this podcast is about. So welcome, Gail.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Thank you. So tell us about yourself.
Okay, well, in terms of my social work career, pretty much the bulk of it has been as a medical social worker. So I've been working at Broward Health North for about 25 years now. Basically doing case management, discharge planning. So to sum it up, it's mostly trying to figure out where all the patients are going to go after their hospital stay,
Right.
Whether they need home care, rehabilitation, medical equipment, etc. So it's really coordinating their plan of care with everyone involved. I love doing it.
Is it all ages?
It's adults,
Okay.
So no children at this hospital. A lot of elderly, homeless
Right.
population where we get.
Right. Which is
That's
what I worked with, the same thing.
exactly,
I mean,
and partly
when
why I
patient-
also started that social worker on wheels
Which I was
project.
going to talk about that. I want you to I think it gives a lot
Yeah.
about your character. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so I had just realized how many patients we were getting that did not have medical insurance, and obviously they couldn't afford their medical care,
Right.
and that was not an area where I really was going to be able to help them. But I was thinking how many of them needed medical equipment and they just couldn't afford,
Right.
a $75 walker or a wheelchair. They came in after a trauma or after, or maybe they didn't have insurance, they weren't legal in the country,
Right,
whatever
right.
it was. So I started thinking about it, and then started thinking about all the older people in our community who probably wanted to get rid of this stuff.
Right.
I mean, I know people in elderly communities, assisted livings. I have friends whose parents have passed, and
Right. I gave you a walker after my mom
that's
passed.
exactly. And I've had so many people reach out to me, so I decided why not? It's a win-win. I started posting on social media, and it was crazy how many people responded. I started picking up equipment. My trunk became my vehicle.
Right. So cool. Though.
And we keep filling up our storage unit.
Okay.
And every time it gets a little low, I'll just post on social
That's
media,
awesome.
and people
Can
are
I
always
post the link
donating.
on my thing?
I would love that.
Okay.
And with my
I'll
cell
definitely do
number,
that.
people can text me.
Well, that I won't do.
Yeah, okay.
Not on this,
Not
but
on this.
yes.
People can,
Right.
reach out however they want,
Right.
and I'll arrange pickups and
Great. That's
gently.
awesome.
We're looking mostly gently used walkers and wheelchairs are the
Okay.
most
Used
used
needed or
items.
whatever.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, so that gives you a little bit about who Gail is. Gail happens to be one of my very closest friends. I wanted her to come on this because, as you all know, at my last podcast, I changed my podcast focus a little bit. Wide Open Spaces with Elise, Cracked Open. And if you didn't listen to last week, Cracked Open can mean good things, happy things, weddings, getting married, and tragic things or difficult things that happen to us. And Gail has been cracked open. And I want her to share her story with us because I believe that she's an inspiration. It's something that she went through is very common, that a lot of people go through in their life, different stages of their life. And some people come out of it, and some people don't. Some people have a hard time moving forward. And I think that Gail has done an amazing job. Inspirational, which is why I wanted her to be my first guest on this new season. So give us a little bit of the general, what was the thing that just cracked you open, that made you feel raw, vulnerable, unsure of your future, where it was going to go? Give us, in a general way, what cracked you open.
Okay, so it was about 2 years ago. At the time, life was going along relatively smoothly. I, was in my social work career, which is part-time. I have my kids, which was my other part of my life. So pretty much my life was very routine, like everyone else's.
Right.
All the mom duties, from running them to sports to, activities, you name it. And you're right, there was a major life event which cracked me open and kind of changed everything at once. So it was going through a marital difficulties and decided to pursue a divorce at that time. The timing was very tough because my oldest was on his way out to college, and it was within kind of weeks that everything transpired. I didn't think I could do it. It was one of those things where all of a sudden I'm like, this is not my life. I felt like I was maybe watching my life on a Dateline episode.
Right.
I kept saying to people, am I on one of these episodes?
It's like it's a disassociative type of feeling.
Right.
It's like watching a movie of your own.
Right. Like I was packing up the house to move my son to college, which was sort of the normal sequence of events. I was trying to adjust to that.
Right.
Trying to adjust to a very difficult teenage daughter.
Yeah.
Who does provide a lot of challenges.
Right.
And then in addition now, oh my God, I'm going to go through a divorce.
Right.
My life is completely upside down. Nothing like I've had, nothing like I've known. Everything that was calm and kind of routine was no longer. And the type of person I am, that cracked me open.
Yeah.
I like very calm life to just
being
status
able,
quo.
and I've always been the same way, which I've
Yeah.
worked on, counting on, what your routine's going to be like, and you like that just kind of even keel. Something throws you off, it's a tailspin.
It does. And
Yeah.
my initial, some people get depressed, some people my thing is anxiety. And when something major happens in my life, there's been a few incidents, it causes my anxiety to spiral.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like I don't know how I'm going to control it enough
Right.
to get through this next stage.
Right.
And somehow I was able to, and somehow I was able to get through it.
Somehow, let's stop there.
Yes.
You know what you did to get through it. What were
Mm-hmm.
some of the things, what you did? It wasn't somehow, it was work that you did. What did you do?
Well, I'm staying busy has always been a really good thing for me.
Right.
At that point though, my routine had been uprooted. So my son, who's now off in college, he doesn't need me anymore.
Right.
My daughter, who needed me for driving and all her activities, suddenly got her driver's license,
Right.
doesn't need me anymore. So suddenly I'm alone, and I don't know myself and my needs because I only knew my identity was a mom.
Right.
Thank God I had my work, because going to work even part-time gave me a purpose. I was helping other people.
Right.
And it kept me busy, and my coworkers are amazing. They all know what I went through. I had a few times when I went back to work where I just couldn't
Right.
function.
Right.
I burst into tears, and they were all there to pick me up again,
Right.
send me home if I needed to, just pick up
great.
the pieces. So thank God for that. I turned to my support system. I have an incredible family and very supportive friends. My mom and dad flew in the next flight out whenever
Yeah.
they could. They helped me with getting the kids off, moving. I mean, it was nonstop. I think exercise was a really big part for me. Trying to go to the gym or Pilates classes, whatever I can do to just keep my mind busy, keep myself busy. Music, and I know you've shared that.
Yes.
And I just shared with you earlier, it was a big thing. I always had it on in the background in the car rides, but all of a sudden I found when I was feeling very anxious and my
Right.
heart rate started, and I said, I can't do this. I don't know how I'm going to get through the day. Playing music, and often the sappy love songs
Yeah.
or that type of old Air Supply Chicago
Right.
stuff was getting me through some
Right.
tough hours of the day
Yeah.
when I didn't think I could do it. I'm trying to keep as busy as possible. I know sometimes people say, well, you gotta deal with it.
Right.
I'm the type of person that being alone and dealing with my thoughts sometimes is worse.
Is right.
I'm an open book.
Yeah.
So I would call you up
You
and
are an
say,
open book.
Elise,
Yeah.
please, let's get coffee. I
Right.
need to talk to somebody. I found at the time an unbelievable therapist who was a very fluke chance. My hospital offers
Right.
the employee assistance program, which I didn't even know about. I randomly call one day and I said, I don't know, I never used this before, but I'm going through so much
Right.
stuff. The woman who answered the phone happened to be the director of the employee assistance program.
You got lucky.
And 2 years later, she is still my therapist.
That's
and
awesome.
I call her up. I can even call her on a car ride and
But
just
that's
say,
good.
she knows me. She knows
Right.
what I'm going through. So I definitely have the great support network.
Yes.
I thank God every day for family, friends, everybody who's got me through this.
Yeah. Gail did a really cool thing too that I thought was amazing because it was fairly soon after the split. She invited her closest girlfriends over for snacks and wine and whatever, and we sat in a big circle, and not only were we all hugging her and supporting her, but we all she went around the circle and asked for everybody to give her guidance and input. And I thought that was such a healthy thing to do because you're bringing all those people that you know support you together in one room, and the energy that's just like I felt like what you needed at that moment in time. So I thought that was such a great coping mechanism that you did, and we had fun too. Obviously,
I think that was a birthday.
It was like
coordinated
a right,
birthday.
but you were dancing and you were singing and like
it was our first free night,
Right.
I think, since everything
Right.
had happened. The first time where I
right.
let myself loose and just had fun
And you could
wasn't
see
worried.
how raw Gail was. She went through in that time we were all together. She went through like a roller coaster of emotions in that night. But that was just her being herself with the people that she felt comfortable with. And I think anybody who can do that during that time, to bring the support, to feel them holding you up, to be able to be vulnerable, is a great coping mechanism. So I was proud of you that you did that.
Thank you. And just to be very honest, there's days where I feel so good being around big groups of people,
Right.
and I can kind of just be my funny self and outgoing and have fun. And then there's days where all I wanted to do was just be alone.
Right.
And I didn't feel it, even the strength to like just getting out of the house was tough. Just,
for sure.
Going to work, going to an appointment, I was struggling.
Or seeing people that know you're going through this, and it's like,
and I don't really want to talk
Right,
about it,
exactly.
and I don't want to. So I have to say, and still to this day, 2 years later, I have my days where I feel
Sure.
great. I feel like I could conquer the world.
Right.
I'm gonna run to Pilates, go do all this, get stuff done. And then there's other days where I'm in my head and almost doubting myself.
Sure.
I can't get this done. How are you going to do this?
Right.
How are you going to?
Right.
So a lot of self-doubt has
Yeah.
come into play.
Sure. What have you learned about yourself since you've been that raw and cracked open?
It's interesting because I've never thought of myself as a strong person. And then, interestingly enough, my teenage daughter, who never really says anything very nice to me, just,
Well, she's a teenager.
intentionally.
Like, we all know what that's like, right?
But I remember her writing me a card soon after everything happened and just pointing out that I'm the strongest person she knows. And when it came from her, it can come from anybody.
Sure.
But coming from her,
yeah.
my daughter is seeing me in action here. I mean, when everything happened, she saw me. I was able to move into, it was probably crisis mode.
Right,
But
absolutely.
I learned that I do very well in a crisis mode situation, which I never thought I would.
Right.
I learned that I could get my kid to college, get my daughter where she had to be at all these different camps, start work on all the divorce things, get back into work, and just crisis.
Right.
So I definitely learned that about myself. I'm a survivor. I can do that. I think the hardest part has come after that all settled, and when we got through the crisis mode, my kids seemed to be stable. I was obviously very worried sending my kid off to college when the family was going through a lot of turmoil. Yeah. I worried about his mental health. I worried about my daughter. It's when the dust kind of settled and everyone seemed to be doing well, everyone's lives were somewhat back to normal. I think that's when I had this burst of anxiety come over me, like, oh my God, now what?
That's not unusual. I've talked about myself.
Yeah.
That once, like everything that's been going on with me, which I talked about in the last podcast, when things start to settle, that's when I'm able to control it in the moment, but when things settle down, that's when the overwhelming anxiety. And I think it's part of that fight or flight. And when you're able to calm down, it's like,
you're waiting for the next shoe to drop.
Yeah, for sure.
I was almost like when my kid would call me, is everything okay?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I know everything's okay,
Right.
you know. I remember right soon afterwards, I get this crazy call from my daughter. She's on a boat with friends, a family.
Right.
And she calls me up hysterically crying. This is maybe a month after everything had happened.
Right.
And she's like, the boat's sinking. I think I'm drowning. And she's off in the Keys with another family. I'm helpless. I can't do anything.
Right.
She's hysterically sobbing. And of course I'm like, oh my God, here it goes. Everything is going to start spiraling out of control. This is my life.
Right.
And I almost had this like doom or gloom, like everything was going to be doom and gloom. Thankfully she was okay, and it was just a bad storm, and she was, but
the ship wasn't sinking.
No, nothing. It was, they were fine.
Right.
But I remember every call I got, I was often in that fight or flight,
edgy,
edgy, very anxious, just trying to get through my routines, do my normal everyday activities. But some days were so hard, and still are.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So your life has moved on.
It has.
And you are a different person sitting here now than who you were just talking about. Even though you have those days, I can be a witness that you are a different person right now. What has transpired since you've gone through the immediate fight or flight? And yes, you have some days and you know what you have to do to pull yourself out of it. Where are you now? What have you learned about yourself now? How is your life different? How do you see your future since you've been cracked open and you were so raw, and now it's, like you said, 2 years later? Where are you now?
I feel like I'm much more of an independent woman than I was before. I feel like it's very easy in a marriage to get, kind of settled in your roles and just do what you're used to. I thought the life of me, I was never going to be able to have a house on my own, take care of the bills, the problems of the house, it was easy just to pass that off.
Sure.
I handled the kids and their activities. That's what I knew.
You had your roles.
Right. I mean, I'm a financially savvy person, but I didn't handle that aspect. So all of a sudden now, of course, when the self-doubt kicked in, it was like, you can't do that. How are you going to do that? Well, I have. And, thank you for recognizing it too, because I don't see it every day.
Yeah.
I have, some days I'm like, oh, when you're your own worst critic, you're not doing that well enough. Or you're not doing that parenting thing well enough.
We're our worst enemies.
Worst enemies.
For sure.
So I think I've definitely learned those skills. I mean, listen, I was, almost 50 years old when everything happened. If you're used for 23-year marriage, you didn't handle any of those things. All of a sudden now you're on your own. You have people to talk to and, to advise you, but you're kind of on your own. I've definitely figured that part out, and I think that I know who to turn to if I need help with different areas, and I'm glad that I have a good network.
Right.
My kids, thankfully, are in a great place. I mean, thankfully, with everything that happened, they did not skip a beat. I mean, with school, with, their friends, with their lives. I am so grateful that they're both in a good place. Right. Dylan's, in his third year at UF, and Sammy's going to graduate high school this year, and we'll see what happens.
That's crazy.
But so thankfully they're in a really good place. And as you know, I definitely went on the dating scene a little after
she did.
Everything.
She had some fun.
Like
everybody should.
It was very new to me. Online dating was like a complete foreign concept, and I was like, oh, let's give it a try. I mean, when I got married, there was nothing like that. No. So it definitely was a fun experience. I'm glad that I didn't get settled or anything. It took me, so it's been about a year now that I'm with my boyfriend, who I think the connection was just really fast and really amazing. He's been such a good support to me too, and I feel like we just are both each other's person.
Yeah.
So finding a relationship when I didn't think that was possible.
Right.
I mean, I didn't even know if that was in the cards for me.
Right.
I never imagined myself as a divorced person. My parents have this wonderful long marriage. It was just not even something it was in the cards, but it happened, and I had to learn to move past my, idea of how life should be and what I should be doing, because I think that was part of the problem growing up. You should be married by this age. You should be in a career by this age. You should have
formula.
Kids. And it was all my own pressure on myself. It was all these.
But it's also societal.
Yes.
I mean, society is a little different now.
Yes.
But when we were at that stage of our life, that was very societal, and we had these expectations. Go to college, meet your significant other, and settle down. And at that point, did we even really, we were young, did we really even know what love was?
No, we knew what it was. It felt comfortable and it felt secure. And not to say, I mean, we had a very good, marriage, and our kids grew up in a very good home. We had good, strong values. We did a lot of family things together.
Right.
So I don't, it's easy to go back and say, and there will be days where I'll go back and say, oh, this was half your life. How did you, what happened? You're basically starting over now. But to go down that rabbit hole, it doesn't help. And I know I have 2 beautiful kids from it. I became a more independent, strong woman from that. I moved here to Florida completely on my own.
Right.
My whole family behind in Canada, and had to learn how to, navigate a new country.
Yeah.
So I can't regret anything that's happened in the past, but I am, I try as much as I can to just move forward.
Right.
And look forward to the future. There's a lot ahead, a lot of good things ahead.
Good things.
And I'm excited for what the future brings.
I don't talk about my divorce much on my podcast, but I went through not the reason why the marriage ended, but all the similar things you went through. Parents married, like the whole thing. I was a failure. Like, you feel all these things.
Yeah.
But I think we look at life so linear.
Yeah.
When life can have so many dimensions, and that's okay. Like, I met my soulmate. And I'm glad I went through that, and I got a child from that marriage. It was meant to be. But I grew so much, and I changed. And I think we need to focus more that life is not linear, that it can have its ups and downs, and how we can grow, and that there can be something so much better. No matter what's cracked you open. I mean, it could be, God forbid, you got in a car accident, and you have to go through rehab and physical therapy and all that stuff, and you feel like your life's on hold. But once you get through that, and you realize the strength that you took to get through that, there's always something better on the other side. And when our life doesn't go in that linear fashion, we feel like it's been derailed, that we were a failure. And you're living proof that that's not true, and that how you can come out of something so detrimental to your psyche and your self-esteem, and come out of it and be able to get into a relationship. A healthy relationship, when you think about it. It's not easy to get in a healthy relationship after you've been through something like that.
Exactly, with all those, the baggage you carry.
Right, and the reality is, we all carry the baggage. I still have the baggage. It's how do I compartmentalize it? Do I let it seep into my relationship? Do I do self-talk and say, okay, shut the fuck up. You're not there anymore. You're not that person anymore. You've moved on. And so you're going to always have that little evil person, I like to call it, like, who's there, who's going to make you question yourself. Always remind yourself where you've been and what you've gone through. And you can do it.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is the most empowering thing, is when you know you can do it. And it is scary. It is scary. I mean, mine walked out. I had a 1-year-old. Like, what the hell do you do? And same thing. Even though before I met him, I graduated college. I had a job. I became this person who was dependent, had this child. So, like, you question who you are, but when you find the inner strength.
Yeah, and you have to. And I guess for the kid, when you have kids, you have no choice. Whether they're babies or teenagers, they need you. And the emotional needs are a lot higher, stronger as teenagers. And you just got to do whatever you can.
Yeah, for sure. Now, you're going to be cracked open again.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to be cracked open again soon, because your daughter's going to go off to college. And that's going to be a new thing for you. How are you going to take what you've learned about yourself? Your house is going to be empty. How are you going to cope? What skills are you going to utilize to get you through that? I've been there, so I know what it's like already.
Well, I think she's purposely been brought on this earth to push as many buttons as possible, so that when she does leave the house, I can vouch
for that. She let me tell you, she's a tough cookie, this one, and her toughness will get her through life. in a lot of ways,
of
but
ways.
right now, for you as the mom, she's tough.
She's tough, but no, I'm definitely, we were both thrown into this weird situation, and we have this special bond because, her dad and her brother left the house pretty much within a couple of weeks of each other, and we joke around or things like that. She's like, "Oh, Mom, you could date as long as I could date." And,
right.
Okay,
yeah.
It's not, not
we're
really
not
the
equal.
same thing.
Like,
No.
I'm the mom.
Right, and it's not like a whole sorority house going on here.
Exactly. Yeah, she'd like it that way.
She would like
for
that.
Sure.
Yes. So I think I feel like because I've gone through this, which was so extreme and so life altering, that when she moves away, it's going to be hard, and it's it's going to be an adjustment. But I feel like maybe I'm more prepared now. I've after kind of thing when you go through something really difficult, you're like, well, okay, I guess I can take on a less difficult challenge. It will be different. My biggest thing is going to be just more the the worrying about her,
of course,
being able to make decisions for herself, and that's a whole other discussion.
And being on Life 360, seeing where she is all the time,
making good choices, and that type of thing. I think that's going to be more of my stress at that point. And
we all go through that when they're freshmen.
Oh yeah,
because they all go to college, whatever they are in high school. This is a new environment for them, so we all worry about that. Are they going to drink too much? Are they taking care? Is their drink covered so nobody can put anything in it? Like, there's all these things, and we all go through that, whether they're difficult or not difficult. When they go off to college, we all have those worries. Those are normal worries. So.
Yes, and having a boy, I guess, made it a little easier.
Probably. I think the daughter part does make it. It's another added stressor on top of it. What are you going to do for Gail?
That's a great question.
I like that little laugh.
No, because, it's funny. I haven't quite, come to the point to figure out me as an empty nester, me kind of on my own. What do I love to do? I mean, aside from, my exercising and meeting up with friends, and watching Netflix, maybe reading a book here or there, listening to music. Yeah, that's a nice, part, of course, a very big part of my life. And I do have someone now to spend time with on weekends, and we have a lot in common. We love doing things together. We both have talked about wanting to travel more. That's awesome. Definitely in the cards.
That's good.
Both of us with older kids, being able to get away and travel. Ironically, both from Montreal.
Yeah.
So
that's nice.
Even going back this weekend together, but being able to share that connection together. So I don't know. I would like to find other things. I need to discover myself more. Yeah. I'm scared sometimes of just being alone. I like being around people. Yes. I like being around coworkers. I like being around my boyfriend. I don't love being alone. And that's going to be an adjustment.
That's a goal, because I talk about that often.
Yeah.
I think it's very important that we can be with ourselves.
Yeah.
Not too much. You don't want to be isolative, but be your own best friend. Yeah. And be comfortable with your own company.
Exactly.
Even though the house was full during COVID, that's when I kind of started going in my backyard alone and just starting to enjoy that time where I don't feel like I always have to every minute
has to be occupied
or have people with me. Sometimes, like now when the house is empty and somebody comes home, I roll my eyes because I'm like, oh, I kind of like that alone time to myself. Going and sitting in a coffee shop by myself, getting my favorite coffee, being on my computer. I think it's so important, and so that's your goal.
That is my goal.
Becoming your own best friend.
Truthfully, yes. And I also feel like, and this is, I don't know if I think I've even shared this with you, but I've thought about this before too, is somehow being able to get out there with other women or other, even, younger adults who are going through things in relationships, knowing people aren't alone, because a lot of the time, and I feel like my social work background combined with my experience,
1,000%.
my life experience, somehow putting that to use, whether it's a support group or I feel like when I was going through my divorce, I could definitely talk to other friends who've been through a divorce. But I felt alone a lot of the time, and I'm sure you have as well. And
well, it's a very common feeling.
It's very lonely.
Hence this podcast.
Okay.
Right. So, but my daughter was one, and I would go to my gym
Yeah.
And I would see all the dads and the moms together. And there was me and my daughter. And I was so jealous and so envious that I just didn't, I was at that age where everybody was either getting married or married. And I had nobody. I felt like I was alone.
Mm.
All these years later, the people that I befriended, they're all divorced and I'm remarried. So it's all kind of how you look at people's lives and you go, oh, I wish you never know what people are going through.
For sure.
And you put on a good mask. You definitely do.
Yeah.
I think when you're out and about. What's great about you is you do have your people. Though you put on a mask, I put on a mask when I'm out there, especially lately. My life's been shitty, and I put on a mask. But as long as you have those people, and the more you spend time with yourself, the more you know what you want and what you need and what's okay. And you might even feel like you don't need to run around as much. Like, I just want to get on my couch by myself, house is quiet, put a good candle on, open a book, whatever, go on TikTok, whatever you like to do, and just be by yourself. And, or whatever it is, or listening to for me, music is my biggest thing, and I just love being alone and listening to my music and whatever. And I've really gotten to know myself, and I think when you do that, it's going to open up a whole different perspective about you, yourself, how you feel about yourself, and maybe what you want to do.
Yeah.
So it's really important, and most people don't spend time. Like you'll be like at a restaurant, why is that person by themselves? You feel bad for them, but not really. They're able to go sit at a restaurant by themselves. That's a big thing. It's not easy for people to do that kind of thing. So that's your goal.
It is my goal. Yes,
that's your goal.
That's something I'm not comfortable with right now, and I'll be honest and admit it. Yeah,
and that's okay. That's always the first step, is admitting that it's something. Listen, we all need to work on things as our life progresses and different challenges. We're always going to be evolving and changing. And the way I look at it, as long as you go through it, not over it, not under it, not around it, but go through it, you grow.
Yeah.
You grow. And you are just the perfect example of somebody who's been cracked open raw. So raw that it hurts. And yet, 2 years later, here you are.
Yep.
Glowing, your skin's glowing, and you look good, and you're able to laugh, and you're able to do things, and finding somebody else. I mean, that's not easy.
No,
it's not easy.
No, you have to be ready and open for it. I realized, and I thought I was ready the minute I thought I was ready to go, but you're not. But
all that stuff was okay.
Yeah,
because those were things you just kind of had to go through, get out of your system, whatever it was, to get you to meet this person. Maybe if you didn't go through all that, maybe you wouldn't have met him, or maybe it wouldn't have been as good as it is, because you needed to go through all that.
Exactly. No, it was a process.
And I think that's how we have to look at life's ups and downs, is we need to go through it, experience it, take it in, to grow from it. Mm-hmm. Do you feel you've grown?
I definitely feel I've grown. Even just, it's the first time really I've shared with friends individually, one-on-one, but it's the first time I've actually, shared to this extent.
Right.
And it makes me realize, I have grown, and I should be proud of myself. When I start with that, self-doubt and that talk, I have to realize I've accomplished a lot in 2 years.
Yep.
And I'll continue to grow, hopefully, and learn from it.
No, you will. Not hopefully.
Yes.
You will. Not hopefully. You will.
Yes.
You'll grow from it. We all do. Whether sometimes we take a step back or forward, whatever it is. Sometimes we do fall back a little bit. And we have to push ourselves forward, because we're only human. I mean, let's be real. Exactly. But I can tell from that time you had all your friends over versus who you are now. It's a totally different person. It's not the same person, literally. Even in my mind's eye, as I could see you there, and now it's not the same person. You've evolved so much.
Thank you.
And you can thank your divorce and thank all that, because really, in the end, you're being more fulfilled. It's more of not what was expected of you and following a path. It's what you're choosing now as Gail, what path you want to take, and what's good for you and what's good for your kids. And your direction is all in your hands now, nobody else's. And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
just to
Thank
guide
you
your
so
own
much.
journey. You're welcome.
And I love your feedback too, because it always means a lot. Like you tell me the way it is and
Yeah.
what you see. And
I am very honest with her.
no, I love your advice and your feedback, because
Yeah.
it helps me, because you don't always see yourself the same
Yeah.
way.
No,
You
none
can.
of us do. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I want people to be honest with me.
Yeah.
Even if I might go, "Ugh, that hurts a little bit," or whatever. Sometimes we don't see ourselves falling back a little bit or falling into our self-doubt.
Exactly.
And then your friends hear it in your voice and you're like, hey, wait a minute. Come on, let's be realistic. Look at yourself. Like, why are you even going there? Why are you even falling back into that pattern? Why are you letting yourself spiral down a dark, wormhole?
Exactly.
And so I think that's what friends and family are, because to me, that's a big point of them being in our lives, is to be able to see those things and be honest with us.
Yeah.
I don't think a true friend is somebody who's not. They tell us everything. That's a superficial friend.
That's a Facebook friend.
Right. We have our place for those friends.
Yeah,
I've got
social
those
media.
friends, but I have a very small circle. I know you have a circle, and those are the people that we have gotten to the point in our lives that we know that we have good friends, that they'll be there for us no matter what.
Exactly.
And family, and that, family is there, and yes, life moves on, and some people aren't. For me, like, we know my mom passing, and I have to evolve that way, but my friends, you and my other girlfriends, I have just surrounded me, and that's everything. When you're in those traumatic moments in life, like you had all your friends over that time, that's what life's about, because sometimes we can't help or prevent the trauma.
No,
But to have the support system is so important. So thank you so much, Gail.
Thank you.
love
I actually really enjoyed this.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad she was
love
my
it.
first guest. I knew she'd be perfect.
Oh, thank you.
And we'll see who else is going to be coming on. I will put Gail's email for if anybody who's local, anyways, who wants to donate any walkers or wheelchairs. And I'll even share a picture that I took of Gail and I with the walker that I gave her from my mom. And she's definitely a special lady who makes a great impact on the people in the world, people she works with, your clients, and your friends. So thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to Gail, and to all of you out there who came this week to listen to Wide Open Spaces with Elise, me, the fiery redhead. Remember, go to any of my social media, like, love, comment. You can also comment on this actual podcast. Gail would love to hear some input or feedback. And, well, go out, explore all those wide open spaces in your world. And until next time, my friends, ciao.